You make me.
Hey guys, this is Twisted Auto Garage here, and I want to talk to you today about brake bands. More importantly, when you need to replace one and whenever you need to set one up. Now, this one is highly worn out compared to this one. This one's actually brand new, and it came with this drum brake. Now, you can tell that this one is worn out just by looking at the interior of the brake band. Now, you can see that there's actually exposed metal here, and whenever the exposed metal will be grinding against your drum brake, and you'll end up with having to replace both components because of the wear and tear. And for this one, you can really tell putting them side by side that there is a major difference between them, just how brand new this one is compared to how old and worn out from years of use that one has. Now, taking a look over here, something you need to get is, this is a one-wheel drive setup. It's very common to see these on go-karts instead of the live axle go-kart. Depending on how many horses your engine is, it can beat a live axle, it can be slower, just depends. Now, once you have your drum brake set up, you need to think about which way the wheel is going to be spinning. Now, this is on my go-kart, it's the rear left tire. So it's going to be spinning this way as it goes forward. Now, the first thing you need to do, and you need to check your go-kart, and there will be a piece of metal here. And the piece of metal is for this part of the brake to ride on. So and I'll show you that later in the video. Once this is sitting here riding on it, you'll have to look back here to have some sort of linkage or some type of wire or metal rod connected to it just to help lock it up. Now, for smaller horsepower engines like a 3, 4, I suggest using one of, this actually came with the brake kit. You just feed the wire through there, and then this is a star bit, and you just tighten it down, and that will tighten the wiring. And so once you have it all set up, where this is riding on a piece of the go-kart chassis, and this has the wire through it, when you hold the brake, it will actually, let me get this in the right position. If you were to pull it, when you hit the brake and the brake will engage, you'll be pulling this wire, and this piece will stay stationary because it's connected to the chassis. So you're basically just going to see an action like this. And that's how the brakes are really used, in a sense. It just wraps around the drum brake and it engages and slows down the driving tire. Now, for higher horsepower engines, I suggest using an actual metal rod instead of one of these wires, because even though you tighten this down as tight as you can get it, after abuse, it's just going to end up having the wire slip out just a little bit, just enough where your brake stability isn't as good as it used to be. And again, if you had a worn brake on here, you would notice that this one actually fits it quite well, just because it's been hit, the brakes have been engaged so many times, they're just kind of bent that way. Now, and your brakes will get like this too. If they need to get in a certain position so your metal rod can get attached to it, over time, it takes a little bit to actually break your brakes in, basically. You're going to have to use them just for a little bit, just to kind of give it that little bend to it, so it rides better. But anyway, and there's certain spots here you can see that since it's missing the pad, that it really doesn't engage as well, because there's those missing chunks compared to that setup where it grips the whole drum brake. Now, and later on in this video, I'll show you the piece that will connect to the chassis and where you would want to put one in case you're going to build your own go-kart, or you're going to repair or set up a new brake setup on an older go-kart. So stay tuned. Alright guys, and this should be the final result. You can see that it's actually kind of idling hard on this little go-kart, but this go-kart is using a wire setup instead of a metal one because it's only a 2 horsepower engine. But I'm going to show you that the brake engages. And you can see it really locked up that chain for the few seconds that I held it on there. But you can see that it's in there pretty well around the drum brake assembly. And then for that piece of metal I was talking about earlier, you'll see that it's been welded on the engine plate right here, and it's just going to hold the one side of the brake band. And when I engage the brake, it locks up that wire. So I'm gonna show you that one more time. So seeing that all the metal kind of looks the same, you could really see in those couple seconds that this piece moved out a little bit and it engaged the brake. And you'll want to make sure the brakes are tight. Now you'll see that it's rubbing. If you look back here one more time, you'll see that it's actually rubbing a little bit on the brake in certain areas. But that's what I was talking about earlier, breaking into brakes. It's gonna wear out a little bit just to get a better feel for the go-kart. And when you hit the brake, you should be able to move this barely, but you got to give it a lot of strength. I actually can't move this one. This is a pretty ideal situation go-kart. And but thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and share a video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.